Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bedomy, and this is Batman Arkham Asylum Origins. Nope, that's wrong. That's Batman Arkham Origins, which is a prequel to Batman Arkham Asylum. Anyway, this is a prequel to the whole Arkham trilogy developed by Rocksteady Games, and well, that's not just a trilogy at this point; it's a whole franchise. But this is the prequel, chronologically speaking, the first game in the story. It's developed by WB Montreal, and it's a carbon copy of Arkham City, only in this case you have a Christmas skin attached to the city itself. I'm not kidding, that's basically it. The mechanics aren't... The mechanics of the game are the same as they were in Arkham City, and most of the gadgets are just the reused gadgets from Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Which, in all honesty, isn't so bad as it seems, but I kind of wish that the developers put some effort into this. To be fair, they did create an interesting story and a pretty satisfying prequel for the whole Arkham universe, but I am kind of disappointed with the lack of newer gadgets. I mean, the biggest novelty is the shock gloves you get as the story progresses, and these are electrified gloves that will allow you to bypass armored opponents and some other heavily armed opponents as well with relative ease, but they're not as... I mean, they are useful for area exploration as well, but that's just minimum effort in my honest opinion. Anyway, let's take a look at the options menu and then get into the gameplay itself. First thing first, the gameplay options are minimalistic, and for the record, I just to warn you people, if you have this game on the PC, use the mouse and keyboard. It's the least troublesome way of playing the game. I tried to play this game with two different controllers. And in both cases, the game's recognition software couldn't work with them. It basically went up as left, down as crash, left is down, right is up, or something like that. The input methods the inputs just went haywire for all intents and purposes. I tried to play this with the Xbox Game Controller emulator, and that's solved the issue to a degree, but that also caused a different set of problems. There was frame rate drops and some audio issues, as well as crashing issues. So, yeah, I went for the mouse and keyboard. And speaking of that, if you start a game with a controller plugged in, turn off the game and unplug it, because if you just unplug it while the game is running, it will not recognize the mouse and keyboard. So you'll have to find a way to shut the game off with Alt-Tab or Control-Alt-Delete through Event Manager, basically. Because if you unplug the controller, the game will never recognize the mouse and keyboard as active controllers, which is rather annoying. So yeah. Invert look and rotate, and invert controls, just turn them off and turn off the vibration for the controller just to spite the game up. Yeah, it's childish, but turn this stuff off, it's useless. Hints and camera assist, yeah. You could keep these two, I would recommend that you keep them on. It just makes your life easier as the game goes. And you can also adjust the brightness of the game in the game options. Granted, I am kind of curious why the brightness isn't in the video options themselves, but we'll get to that. We'll never get to that, but we have bigger fish to fry on this one. As you can see, these are my current video options. I adjusted my resolution and chose to play in full screen, but otherwise I lowered most of the settings and visual quality to either normal or the lowest possible setting I could can muster. This is because the game has, let's be honest, the game's port is honestly horrible. The port is terrible. It's not Arkham Knight terrible, but it's still, it's sloppy, to say the least. Warner Bros. Montreal did a terrible job with this one. I mean, this is, at the moment, this is the only known setup I have that minimizes the frame rate drops or crashes that I've encountered so far. So if you're having, if your frame rates are starting to drop, or if your game is freezing up and crashing, I would recommend that you try these settings. Specifically, turn everything to normal, keep everything else on, and turn off accelerated physics. That's, I think that's the major problem. Well, yeah, it says it here. It deactivates to improve performance, but even with this turned off, I still have crashes and frame rate drops on occasion. So these settings will minimize the problem at the very least. I'm not sure. I'm still looking for a way to fix this, but at the moment, this is the workaround I discovered. And hopefully, I hope this will not happen to you if you're playing this, but if it happens to you, try these settings. It should help. Audio options minimal as well, but thankfully you can adjust everything separately, so there is no master volume, or the only volume you can adjust. Everything has a separate volume that you can adjust to your own personal preference. You can also choose your preferred output device, as well as turn on subtitles or turn them off. Controls, as you can see, are preset for the controller and wrong button, my apologies. And they are rewindable for the mouse and keyboard. But surprisingly, for some weird... Nope. Come on, up. Go up, you stupid. For some odd reason, the scrolling up function will work in a rather randomized way on occasion, as you saw. I was trying to scroll back up to forwards, and it went down for a bit. Hey, for God's sake. Yeah, sometimes this happens. But that's not the only issue I have with the mouse and keyboard configuration. As you can see, this is painful to watch, and honestly, even more painful to use. Multiple actions bound to a single key. That's really counterproductive to anyone who plays on a mouse and keyboard. I mean, running with spacebar. That's how many games do you know that use spacebar for running? The majority of PC players by default use shift for running. And space is generally reserved for jumping. So why on earth would you bound multiple actions to a single key and not even list all of them? I mean, running, jumping, dodging, gliding, which is flying basically, and using something are all bound to the spacebar. That's stupid and counterproductive. I mean, if you find yourself if you're in the middle of a fight and you're trying to dodge someone, you will start running by accident because you didn't press space at appropriate strength or something. There is a specific way of how to utilize the space bar for multiple actions, but when you're fighting off multiple opponents, it's kind of, I won't say it's hard to keep track of, but you will accidentally press space in a different way than you expected, and you will end up with a completely wrong action at a wrong time. I mean, you'll try to jump away from a punch, and you'll start running towards it. These things happen, but thankfully the rest of the settings are pretty decent. Every other action is bound to a single key, which I'm entirely grateful for. So yeah, these are the options, and as I already mentioned, there are quite a number of problems with the game already, and we didn't even get to the gameplay portion of the game. So yeah, the game has a tendency to crash, frame rates drop, and unless you input a proper video setting, and there's also a weird audio and game crushing bug that occurs if you pause the game for too long or open a map for any weird reason. So how this what exactly I'm talking about is if you put yourself on the map for a minute or any longer than that, you will encounter the game will start crashing and the audio will just go haywire. And while we're on the map, as you can see, I'm trying to move around with the mouse, but the only way to actually control the map around is through the mouse through the keyboard, which is imprecise and very annoying in my book, because I want to go for a specific point on the map, and I have to carefully press keys in order to get towards the place. That's annoying, and that's really annoying. But thankfully, how long was I on this? The map's fairly large, and as you can see, it's separated into different zones that you can explore at your own leisure and take on collector's quests and other side quests, such as locate the specific shipment of weapons, or discover a mole and discover a mole in the gang over there. And we just overheard a discussion about a crime, and that's a new side quest for us that we can go and explore at our. Actually, let's go and explore this specific location that actually works for us. As you saw, there is a side quests journal that we can use to keep track of all the side quests that we partake in. And there's also the main story journal where we can... No, that's not it. Nope. And there's also a main story journal that we can use to follow the main story. At the moment, I'm just focusing on Gotham Intel and case file reports. These are side content that I can resolve at my own personal leisure, and they reward me with additional experience as well as additional, I won't say unlockables, but I do get some pretty decent rewards, all things considered. So this is how Arkham games usually work. You either sneak up behind your enemies and knock them out in complete silence, or you jump in amongst them and start beating them up. And since these two were not paying attention to their surroundings, it was an easy matter for me to just sneak up behind them and knock them out. And as you can see, this is the detective vision that I'm currently using. It's a detective vision which lets me see all the interactables in the world, as well as all the hostiles in the area. And if I press the Z button, I can also go into first-person camera mode, which allows me to see even better. But apart from the wall hacking ability that is the detective vision, there's also the detective mode in all its purity, or in all its glory, which is
fire damage is going to make
this
collection difficult. I should start by identifying the victim.
So as you can see, once you approach the crime scene, you will enter a detective mode, which will allow you to scan body parts and other pieces of evidence.
His name is Alex Kane. He's a small-time arms dealer that frequently works with the Penguin. Cause of death was a gunshot wound to the heart. The fire must have been set in an attempt to cover the killer's tracks.
Yeah, as you can see. Once I'm on the crime scene, I have a limited field that I have to investigate in order to find evidence, scan them, and then I have to reconstruct the
DNA evidence.
Reconstruct the crime scene.
Fired from close range. This suggests the two men knew each other. Maybe it was a deal that went bad.
So yeah, as you can see, I can rewind and cross-check most of my findings in order to find other pieces of evidence that will help me discover who the killer is, or...
The fire was actually started by the victim. Chemical residue points to an incendiary grenade. Guess an arms dealer always comes prepared. The spread pattern means the killer would have been trapped here, though. But there's no second body. He must have found a way out. The killer made his way up the wall in an attempt to avoid being overcome. I should follow his route and see where it takes me.
So yeah, I'm just gonna rewind this a bit. As you can see, by reconstructing the whole scene of the crime, we can see what actually happened. So on occasion we will have to exit the crime scene in order to see where the victim or where the perpetrator went, in order to discover additional evidence.
There's no way he could reach that ladder. I should review the crime scene to see how he made his escape.
Okay, let's see, let's rewind a bit. And there we go. There's the ladder, and that should give us...
King Lou, one of Penguin's top hitmen. Chances are I'll find him at the docks. I wonder what Kane did to deserve this.
I need any unassigned unit for special assignment. Stand by.
So yeah, as you can see, in Batman Arkham games, you usually partake in a lot of Batman's regular activities. You discover crime scenes, you investigate them on your own, and you also go around and try to prevent other violent crimes that are occurring. So yeah, at the moment we're...
Dispatch, this is Delta 2 Victim requesting backup. Officer taking fire. Check this out.
We're gonna utilize the element of surprise here and try to utilize the combat flow of the game. And utilize some of our other gadgets in order to get rid of the... Oh, no you don't. Get rid of most of these guys. And no, you're not using that gun on me. So let's see if I can use the gadgets correctly. Yeah. Well, let's see. First things first, these are your standard. Ooh. That's painful. These are your standard moves. Basically, it's free flow combat. You press the attack button, and depending on who you hit, you will create a combo. And depending on where the camera is pointing, you will continuously punch the opponent. And as you can see, the blue glow on my arms, that's the shock gloves that I'm using currently. And they can be utilized in a rather unique amount of way. in a unique amount of ways. And as you can see, this is the game's AI at its finest. They're completely oblivious to you as long as you're behind them or next to them. Which can be rather stupid. Come on, I want this. Nope. And also, I mentioned this already, but I really wish the map was mouse controlled, not keyboard controlled. But anyway, as the game goes, you just have to unlock additional areas. As the game progresses, you unlock additional areas and additional gadgetry, which will help you traverse through the map. And I did mention this on a couple occasions, but I'm not a big... No, that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to dodge, I wanted to fly. As I said, I'm not a big fan of open world games due to the simple fact that they're pretty dull in my opinion. They don't have many modes of transportation that makes things interesting for me. But this game kind of goes around it by giving me a fairly decent amount of traversal mechanics. I can parkour, I can run around, I can run and jump across the rooftops, I can fly above the streets, and I can utilize the grappling hook to just swing around. And I can also utilize those two, and all three of them in a combination. So I can boost myself with the grappling hook, fly up in the air, and fly around, cover greater distances. I can also control my descent and ascension and descension. And I have to be careful around, because there are multiple enemies that can take me out of the sky. For example, there's a sniper over there. So if I'm not careful, he can knock me out of the sky fairly easily. Thankfully, the detective vision will reveal most of these guys to me without too much trouble, so I can knock them out relatively easily. And I can utilize most of my weapons and gadgets in a couple of unique ways. Well, as you heard, some goons really know that they're about to get beaten up, which is fairly entertaining if you ask me. But it's kind of entertaining to see how, on occasion, the goons will notice you flying by them, and sometimes they will not notice that you just passed them. So I'm gonna prioritize my enemies here. My top priority here is the guy armed with a knife and a gun. Oh no, you don't. You're not using that on me, soldier. And I have to be careful about these guys with a shield because they can blow up most of my attacks. So I have to be careful about what I do. Thankfully I have counters that will work in my advantage. So let's utilize those gloves of mine and ignore all the armor that the enemy has. Shall we? Too bad they're limited, time limited, but the more you fight, the longer they last, so utilizing your weaponry to the fullest is the main focus of the game. And depending on your performance in the game, you will be awarded with additional points of experience, which you can spend on upgrades. Unfortunately, I did get hit a couple of times, so I am not getting great amount of rewards for it, but all things considered, I am upgrading myself to become better. And there is also a training mode and challenge mode in the Batcave where I can visit and talk to Alfred to get extra experience. And I can improve there as well. And depending on how much you have unlocked, additional combat abilities are unlocked for you. For example, you can throw more batarangs and stun multiple opponents easier. The sticky grenade will keep the enemies locked out of combat for longer. That rather pretty decent selection of gameplay mechanics you can utilize in order to achieve victory. So as you can see, I'm currently just going towards the...
You win out. If Kane's dead like you say, why ain't we heard nothing about it? Oh, don't worry. You will. Yeah? Why? Was you there when he dropped? I'm the one that did it. What? Don't give me that look. Guy was...
Oh, yes.
You know it. It's bad for business, but good for us. Someone's gonna have to take his place. I don't know. I need to think about it. Don't take too long. I got a line of guys.
Okay, this is an interesting enemy variation. This is a very interesting variation of the enemy.
Let's show him who he's messing with.
So some gadgets you can utilize to... Oh, damn it. I have to be quick about this. Because this guy is a martial artist, so he can recover quickly, and he can actually counter most of my attacks, so I have to be very careful about what I do. Oh, shit. As you can see, I need to be very, very careful and utilize my gadgetry correctly. So you can't just go and beat up everyone willy-nilly. You have to be a bit strategic with your weapons and resources. So, for example, I'm currently dealing with a martial artist. I will probably my best bet is to actually stun him. Stun him with my shock gloves, or just get rid of him with my... What the... Okay, that's you. Okay, let's see if I can... Well, that's happening. Yeah, that's one of the bugs, one of the many bugs you will encounter in the game. Apparently this guy is somewhere around there. Oh, this game is a buggy mess sometimes. But, yeah, I still love it. It's a good way of just de-stressing yourself. And you can actually... You can actually... Yeah, you can actually distress yourself, and you can run away from combat and reset your health and armor. That makes things a lot easier for you. There are no specific health items you can use. You can only finish the fight and then move on, like real Batman. And honestly, this is why I love this game. It's buggy. And I'm hearing the audio bug coming in, and pop in, and this whatever this is new. I mean, just look at this. Okay, let's see if I can counter. Okay, attack me now. Nope. Let's see if I can glue him. It's just... Okay, that happened, but we finally got rid of this guy.
I'll give you whatever you want.
He'll give me information.
What do you want? Answers. Did Penguin order you to kill Alex Kane?
I don't think so. If anything, Cobblepot's gonna have me killed for doing it.
Then why?
I was sick of playing heavy. I figured if Kane, you know, disappeared, I might be able to move up in the world.
You're not moving anywhere now.
So yeah, that's Batman for you.
Where they can find Kane's killer. You can forward them all the evidence too.
It's already done, sir.
It's as I said, the game has issues, but I'm still having fun with this. I'm not gonna lie. Every mission is a pretty decent challenge of both exploration and combats. And while I'm not the biggest fan of... Excuse me for a second, I'm just gonna take care of one more side quest that's here already. Well, might as well since I'm here. Or actually, yeah, let's explore a bit while we have the chance. Every district has a smaller minimap hidden and inside it where you can go around and explore, and these are usually story important areas where you can explore and re-explore at your own leisure. Some tend to hide some extra collectibles for you. Some just have extra missions. It depends. So it's a good idea to come and re-explore some areas with new gadgets that you have on hand. But I'll do that on my own. I'll do this on my own a bit. This is pretty much what Batman Arkham Origins is about. Just run around the map, beat up bad guys, and also explore the area. Actually, I'm just gonna show you a bit more. It's as you can see, the game is very, very visually appealing. It has a lot of time and effort was put into this to look as good as possible on the older consoles, and it shows. But sometimes some of these, I mean, just look at the colors and the lighting in most of these levels. And if you know how to use your gadgets correctly, you can create quite an amusing set of situations. I remember this particular portion of the level was generally frustrating because this happened, and I couldn't. I just couldn't let go of the rope. After several time-consuming presses on let go button, Batman finally released it. But it was pretty annoying on the first couple of tries. I thought the game bugged out and that I had to redo everything, but at the end I managed to get it. But at the end of the story, I did manage to get to this section of the map. Nope. Come on. Let me finish. Let me get that thing. Let's see. Context-sensitive areas can be a bit annoying. Not gonna lie. Let's see. How do I extract this? Probably need to. It's probably another gadget I didn't get. So yeah, going back and forth across the levels is is an advisable strategy. Just explore the areas on multiple occasions, and you will get all the collectibles as soon as possible. Yeah, platforming on rails can be... Nope! I wanted to jump! Why did you... Oh boy. Nope. For Pete's sake! Don't tell me I'm gonna be stuck here for eternity. Yes! I'm out. Finally out of this place. Come on. Jump! As I said, sometimes the... Oh. Lovely. Wrong direction. Wait, how do I... Honestly, I forgot how to get out of here. Okay, that's... I have to go in that direction then. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'll have to re-explore the area later on. But thankfully, we are getting out of here. I say that now, and I'll probably get... I'll just get somewhere where I wasn't meant to go. Oh no, I'm going out. But yeah, this is Arkham Origins. It's buggy, it's prone to crashing, and the controls are unresponsive, but still, I still enjoy this game greatly. It's the combat is fun, the exploration is fun, and the missions are very well written and designed, for all things considered. The multiplayer was present, but I cannot tell you anything about it because it was dead and gone. How the hell did you... This is supposed to be a double takedown. Well. At the very least, we'll get to see how
it's a real shame.
edge screeners work.
You're actually worth more alive.
Yeah. I honestly just love these bad ending situations there, or end screens there. More or less just tell you that the enemies just tell you that the enemies just taunt you, and you're just given that little boost you need to go in there and retry something. It's really fun, in my opinion. The games are... Yeah, the game's broken. I'm not gonna make excuses. You have to be... It's acquired taste, honestly. But, if you ever wanted to find out a bit... if you ever wanted to try out the Batman Arkham game, this is a good time to... This is a good game to start off with. The games developed by Rocksteady are much better. The Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are very well optimized for the PC. The controls are a bit iffy on... Well, let's just demonstrate what I mean. The controls are still like this. You will have multiple actions bound to a single key. That's frustrating, but at least they're responsive, and you'll not experience frame rate drops or crashes. Otherwise, yeah. If you're interested in Batman Arkham series, I would honestly recommend that you either play Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, and if you like those, purchase Arkham Origins, because it's story-wise, it's a good prequel. Mechanically, on gameplay-wise, it's more of the same, but that's not a bad thing. The gameplay is good. It has a good variety. It has good usage of all the mechanics, and the world is just fun to explore and run around in. Yeah. And anyway, what else can I say about the game before I end this? Nothing much. As I said, if you're interested in this, in the franchise, take a look at Arkham City or Arkham Asylum. They're superior games by comparison, but this is not a bad title to sink a couple of euros or bucks into if you're interested. I would wait for a sale though. It's not the game is not worth the full price. That's all I'm saying. Wait for a sale or borrow it from a friend if you know anyone who has the game on a console or has it on the PC. It's on the PC. It's not the best, but I'm guessing it's the primary focus was the consoles, which was probably optimized correctly. Anyway, that's it for me, honestly. Thank you very much for watching. My name has been Bedomy, and a Merry Christmas to you all, guys, and a Happy New Year. And I'll see you next year. See ya.